Usually Friday's episode is a guest, but since the Tahoe Rim Trail fail just happened, we're going to talk about that today. Just so you guys know, this is all about my failure. Thanks for joining. Welcome into the Free Outside podcast. I am about 12 hours removed from self-extraction, still 100% self-extraction rate, so that is pretty good. It was not the FKT I wanted. I did not get the FKT. I had a rough time out there. Burp. It was a comedy of errors. But welcome into the show, and I'm going to try to explain what happened, how it went. So let's start off by going back, way back. October 27th, 1990. That's when I entered the world. Fast forward, 28 years later. That's when I thought I would do the Tahoe Rim Trail, 2019. I did not. Fast forward 5 more years. This year, I took like 6 months off to train for Cocodona, got injured 50 miles into that, finished that out, and then I had PT for 6 months. And then I just needed a goal. I needed to get back to my roots, get back to the FKTs. And if you don't know what an FKT is, it's basically setting a record on a trail. It's called the fastest known time. So only first place gets the FKT. There's no prize for second place. There's no leaderboard. There's no podium. You have to be the fastest person that's done in that style. So I wanted to do the Tahoe Rim Trail, FKT, fastest known time, unsupported, and stretch myself and see if I could simply do an FKT that long and how I would do it. So I settled on a runner's pack, and it was going to be dicey. I mean, it was 170 miles of nutrition that I had to carry. I carried a wind layer and a Alpha Direct hoodie. And then I actually wore a visor on this one. Never done that before, but it was actually really good. It helped me kind of cool off, pour water in my head a lot easier, stay a little bit cooler. And that's what I settled on. And it all fit in a running vest. It was pretty heavy, 3-liter water capacity. It was really stretching it to the limit, but that's what FKTs are about. You got to just push the envelope. And a running vest was going to be, I don't know how I thought I would move the fastest. If you think this is foreshadowing, it is. Okay, let's get into the attempt. So I had a really tight window. I built for 3 weeks, right off an injury. I did like a 70-mile week, 100-mile week, and like a 110-mile week with some elevation. And then I was just going to go for it. So I took a few days pretty easy. And then I drove out here to Tahoe. I'm actually in the middle of nowhere, Nevada right now. Internet sucks. So if I get this up, like, follow, review, 5 stars, whatever it takes. Anyways, drove out. I had this window where I could drive out Tuesday. I'd have to do the FKT Wednesday, finish Thursday night, drive to Tusher's 100K on Friday, and support crew, my girlfriend who was racing it, and then also an athlete I coach who was also doing it for Saturday. So it was going to be a packed week already, but I was excited. I wanted to squeeze it in. It meant a lot to me to just show up at this thing. I didn't know if I could get it. I didn't even know if I could go that fast for that long, how I would do it, the style, what it would entail. So I just really wanted to take the risk. It's so fun for me to just show up with the unknown. Like, it's a risk, it might be an epic failure. Foreshadowing this may have been. But anyways, I wanted to go for it. So I was going to do it. So I drove out here, camped. I ate sunflower seeds the whole way because for some reason I've gotten back into eating sunflower seeds on long drives. Maybe the sodium hurt me. I have no idea. I think a lot of factors hurt me. So I drove out. I get to this campsite near Carson City, about 10 miles from Spooner Summit, where I was going to start. And I set up camp. I made a pasta-based meal. I was feeling really good. I checked my pack, had everything packed correctly. I liked how everything was. And I was in my sleeping bag by 9 p.m. And if you know me, that's a miracle. I never go to bed before like 11. I don't sleep a lot. But I was ready. I was going to try to set myself up for success here. But as I was laying down and ready to go to bed, 2 trucks of high schoolers showed up, and they seemed to love this spot to hang out, and they just chatted away until about 10:45, 11 when they finally left. So I still got 6 hours of sleep. Alarm was set for 5 a.m. You cannot set your alarm before 5 a.m. I believe the fours are off limits. You can stay up until 3:59 as long as you're asleep by 4. You can get up at 5 a.m., but not before. From 4 to 5, off limits. The fours, nothing should ever happen. The world should, in fact, shut down for that period. So my alarm, 5 on the nose. That's when I got up. I had my breakfast all set out. I had a protein shake. I was good to go. And I drank a coffee on the drive up to Spooner Summit. And I decided I was going to start there because the crux of the Tahoe Rim Trail is the waterless stretches. So there's like a 35-mile stretch, a 17, some 20s, and they were all going to be on the first day for me, like pretty early on. And by going at Spooner Summit, it broke up that 35-mile waterless stretch. So I decided on 3 liters of water that I would take, and that would cover me for my first segment was going to be 20 miles, and then a 17 and a 13 or so. But that's why I started there. So I drove up there, checked everything again, walked up to the trailhead, and then just decided I wanted one more sip of coffee. So I turned around and walked back to my car. And this guy who was walking his dog, actually, I was looking at my phone trying to figure out, make sure I knew exactly how far the water was and where the first turn was and everything. And he goes to me, look up from your phone and look around at the world. And I did not like being told that. It's a pretty intense moment when you're starting an FKT. This is the end of my support. Everything that I have and get to have is going to be in my pack. I'm relying on myself. I did not really want to hear a guy telling me not to look at my phone. So I gave him kind of what you might call a mean mug. I was not that thrilled. And he did it right back. And the vibes were not good. But anyways, I went and this is kind of how it started. So I went and had another sip of coffee, locked the car, and I started. Wow, sirens here in this tiny town. Okay, sirens are over. I think I'm going to leave that in because I'm trying to get this up by tomorrow morning. Okay, I start out and I'm feeling really good. I'm averaging over 5 mile an hour pace. So that's like, I'm doing like 11:30 miles. I'm running some of the uphills. Probably shouldn't have been in hindsight. It was net uphill through this section. The first 20 miles flew by. Eating and drinking well. I started out with um, I put liquid calories in my 3 liter capacity. So all 6 of my soft flasks had about 80 calories in them and some electrolytes. And I had planned, and I did eat 900 calories in that first about 4 hours because I wanted to get ahead on the calories, ahead on the electrolytes, and just feel like I was set up for success going into the hotter afternoon and the drier stretches. Worked out perfectly, got through all the food just like I'd planned. I'm moving faster than expected. I'm feeling good. The forever pace, as I like to call it, came right back. Things were moving and feeling really good. And then I got to, you cross this highway. It might be Mount Rose Highway. I'm not sure. I can't remember. And that's when like something kind of flipped in my like upper abdomen area above my belly button. There's like, I don't know, it felt like a water balloon or something just started building pressure or something. And I just felt really kind of bloated or something, maybe like a really severe gas pain. Not a big deal, still could push through it. It was pretty uphill from there, pushing. It's getting hotter. I'm seeing a lot of mountain bikers, but they're very courteous out there. Like they would stop and move to the side of the trail so I could pass. It was super nice. All the other hikers were nice. They just said hello. I said hello back. Really nicest people of any FKT I've ever done. But I'm climbing. It's getting hotter. My calorie consumption's going down. This like gut punch thing that I'm carrying is increasingly getting worse. It's feeling really bad. And as I get up to like 10,200 feet on Relay Peak, it's not feeling good. I'm getting down some water, maybe a Sour Patch Kid or a goldfish at a time, but the calorie consumption has plummeted. So I just chalk it up to altitude. Like it's fine. Once I drop a couple thousand feet in the next few miles, like it'll be fine. I can make it up. It's a 41-hour record. No big deal. But that's when I had this long descent and, I'm really on track and moving at a good pace. I'm up on the record. I'm starting to have thoughts maybe I could go for the overall record, which really dumb. But I get to the top, the high point of the entire trail, feeling good about myself, and I start trying to run down, and this like gut punch, this whatever it is, like thing in my gut just starts getting worse and worse. It's like searing pain. I can't even run anymore, or it feels like I'm getting stabbed. I've never been stabbed, but I'm just assuming, just, putting words in my own mouth here. But I'm trying to run down. It's not feeling good. And that's when I realized, okay, I built a buffer. This is a really long record. I just need to settle in and get through whatever this is, and things will turn around. They always do. So I just resort to my old through hiking days, fast walking. I can keep about 3.7, 3.8 miles an hour walking pace, especially downhill. That can get up towards 4 miles an hour, which is the pace I need. So I just do that. It's okay. I walked for like 17 miles from maybe mile 23-ish to mile 40. Like I barely ran any steps. There was this older lady, maybe 70, and she was on a trail run, and she passed me going out, and she also passed me going back. Like she was running faster than I was. Well, I was not running, I was walking, but she was moving at a faster pace than I was, and I'm trying to set the FKT. So that was a little disheartening, but it was okay. I know what I'm doing. I'm just need to get through this low point. Things will turn around. But I'm not able to eat anything still. Luckily, I had like 10 precision gels and 10 honey stinger gels, and both the gels were still going down well. So I was able to get down like one of each an hour. So that's like 190 calories. So I'm kind of on track. I'm forcing stuff in the best I can. And then I get to a spring, and I fill up my water. It's going to be like a 17-mile dry stretch again. I pour some on my head, right through the visor. Really, really cool visor. My style on this thing, top notch. Too bad my performance was not. So I cooled down with that. I actually dipped my sun shirt in the water, cooled down, and guzzled a little too much water, probably like half a liter. But it was ice cold, so it just tasted really good. And then like a mile later, that gut punch just like became searing, and it bubbled up inside of me, and I just knew it was nausea. So that's when I started throwing up. It was very quick, very sudden, and there was some relief. Like it felt better after it. I threw up probably 4 times in a row. It was all straight water, so didn't really lose anything of too much substance. This has happened in many FKTs. I know it's going to be okay. For some reason, the crux of me in all of these is like the first 50 miles. So I was okay with it. I was going to get through. No big deal. So I get through the throw up. I actually see a through hiker I knew going the opposite way on the trail. So said a quick hi to him, and then tried to run off and look like I was strong, even though I was struggling mightily. And there's this long descent, and I just really needed to be able to run this thing. But, this is when that older lady passed me. I'm walking every step. All the buffer that I'd made up ahead of time has disappeared. And I just get lower and lower, and am realizing that if I can't run, this thing it's going to be touch and go. But from the beginning, the plan was I just wanted to run this whole loop. I wanted to see if I could do it with a running pack. I wanted to have an adventure. I wanted to just break up my year and do something for me. I wanted to shoot for the FKT. If I didn't get it, I was still going to finish the loop. No big deal. I wanted the epic adventure that marries through hiking and trail running. And that's what it was going to be for 40, 50, whatever, however many hours it took. But things are just very painful. So I'm running down, and I'm just like holding my gut. I'm trying to move well. I actually put in headphones, the earliest I have on anything ever. I'm trying to get my mind off this. Anything that I can do. I'm trying to use the bathroom. I'm trying to find a way to get a fart out or something that's going to make my stomach feel better. Nothing is working. I can take down a few gels, a little bit of water, but I have a constant fear of throwing up calories and making this stomach pain even worse. So I get down, and let's see, mile maybe, I don't know, 50 or so, there's Watson Lake. So I get there. it's pretty hot, but it's cooling off. So this would have been like 6 p.m. I covered the first 50 miles exactly as planned in 12 hours. The first 50 miles in 12 hours. That was the plan. 100 miles every 24 hours. That would give me a shot at the end. That's what I did. That's what I planned for. I got to Watson Lake and just feeling pretty dead. So I literally got in the lake. I laid down, and it's one of those lakes. It looks like it's going to be cold and refreshing, but it was way warmer than I thought it would be. Like I got in there and it was like, oh, this is, it's like when I lived in Cahuita in Costa Rica on the Caribbean side. And every day after my run, I would get in the ocean expecting it to be refreshing, but it was always too warm to actually be refreshing. That's how Watson Lake was. I wanted it to be way colder. I also made a mistake here where I passed this really cold spring about 3/4 of a mile before the lake, and I got some water, took a sip, poured it on my head, poured it on my back, refreshed myself a little bit, but I didn't fill up the rest of my water. It was a 13-mile waterless stretch upcoming, and so I had to fill up my water from the lake, which was pretty sad. It was gross and warm, so I didn't even feel good about drinking it. I did not bring a filter on this whole thing. I was just going straight from the source and hoping for the best. So I just had warm water for that stretch, but I really had to run now. The 5 minute, 6 minute escapade into the lake and filling my water, it ate up the buffer. It put me 6 minutes behind that 50 miles every 12-hour metric. And so I had to be able to run. So my stomach's still hurting, the searing pain, the stabbing every time I run, but I had to run. So I forced myself to do a little bit of jogging. Some trail runners came by. They said hello. It gave me a little bit of energy. I was able to kind of turn things around and was able to move. And then it started getting dark. And so this is when I'm thinking, like, I'm really good at night. It's going to be colder. I'm going to feel a lot better. So no big deal. I pull out my headlamp, ready to go. And I'm going down these switchbacks and stumbling over a couple rocks. It was actually a little rockier in this section than I thought. I'd done all but about 40 miles of the Tahoe Rim Trail before this FKT attempt, and I hadn't done this section. It was rockier than I thought. I stepped off the trail at one point, and then I felt this like stab, like shooting, searing, poke, stab, sting. That's the word. Sting right in my arm. I looked down and I had been stabbed by a yellow jacket. So to compound the ab issues, some issues with nutrition, all that stuff, I'd just been stung by a yellow jacket. I am allergic to yellow jackets. I usually swell up. My arm is swollen right now. If this is on YouTube, you can see it. There's the comparison. One arm is quite fat compared to the other. It looks like like a clown blew up an arm of me, a balloon animal of my arm. So it's pretty fat right now. So I got stung by this yellow jacket. So now in my mind is, well, I'm behind schedule. My calorie consumption is behind. I'm not feeling good. I'm not running fast. And I've been stung by a yellow jacket. No big deal. I can push through all these things. I also knew that my fitness is not where it usually is with such a short build. So I'm suppressing some anxiety too. So I turn on like the most soothing. I have this playlist that's like no words, and it's what I usually write to when I'm doing some writing work. So I turn this on. It's going to calm me down. It's going to be fine. So I keep going down. I'm winding down to Tahoe City, but the miles, it's like when, have you ever had it where on a map or on anything, like after a sign, it's like says 2 miles, but the effort level or the time it takes you to cover that, it should have been like 2.3 miles or something. That's how every mile felt. It felt like a tenth of a mile longer. Like I felt like I was running maybe 10-minute miles, 11-minute miles at the slowest, and the miles are coming up taking like 12-minute miles. So I'm becoming obsessed with my watch, which is taking me absolutely out of the moment, out of what I want to be doing with this FKT. The feeling of being lost in the woods and having my own adventure of doing the loop. So it's getting to me. All these things are adding up. The anxiety, not great, but it's okay. Once I get to Tahoe City, I've done pretty much, yeah, the rest of the trail. So I know every step that's incoming, I'm going to be fine. I get into Tahoe City. I cross the Truckee River, and I decide I just need to cool off one more time and get in. So I just walk right in with my shoes, lay down a little, cool myself off. It's dark out. It's maybe like 9 p.m. I don't know, but it's dark. And then I decide I'm going to take my shirt off. I need to be way cooler than I am. Like I'm burning up probably because of lack of water, because I'm nervous I'm going to throw it up, lack of calories, so I can't regulate myself. And I probably started with a salt imbalance, which maybe that's the abdominal issue. I'm not quite sure. So I'm just trying to overcome all this. And in my mind, it's like the way to get rid of having too much salt is to drink more water, but I'm nervous to drink more water because I might throw it up, which would get rid of more calories that I'm slowly intaking, which would burn more calories and also throw them up. And I have an arm that is slowly swelling up. So we are at, let's see, we're at like mile 63, say. I don't, yeah, 63, 64, 65, somewhere in the mid 60s. And all these things are on my mind already. I'm not even halfway. But I'm going to use this Truckee River reset, and then I'm going to be good. My body temperature is going to go down. It's going to be night. I really enjoy the night. So I'm going by headlamp. There's this climb out of Tahoe City. Feeling pretty good. I mean, I wish it was flat so I could make up more miles, but I'm pushing as good as I can. I'm still on pace. I have a chance. If I don't get the FKT, it's okay, but I'm feeling like things are going to be okay. It's the middle of the night, and having thrown up, I have more energy than I expect. So I'm moving along fine, and then just something hits me. I don't know. I'm trying to run the flats. I'm trying to run even some of the uphills. I'm trying to run the downhills pretty good. I'm trying to just make up time. And then I just suddenly lost energy. And it was like, okay, dealt with this before. I know what to do. I just need to do a short reset. So I just laid down right on the trail and set my phone timer for 1 minute. And I closed my eyes, let myself go full corpse mode, as I like to call it, and just lean into the trail, let it happen. All these things have happened before. It's okay. I can deal with these. I just need to let my body reset. It's a very long time. I don't even need to get the record. I just need to reset so I can have this through run that's majestic in my mind and really get to have this adventure. It's fine. So I get up after that timer goes off and start pushing up the hill again. Things are feeling okay. I'm moving pretty good. Some more flats come and I'm running them. My heart rate's actually back to normal. Things are feeling like I really have a chance at getting this. I'm going to sneeze again. We're not taking that out because we don't have time to edit this thing if I want to get it up and get some sleep. Okay. Where are we? We are like, let's say mile 68 or something. And I get to the creek, Ward Creek, I believe it's called. Fill up my water, feeling good. Things are feeling good, but my headlamp has slowly been dying. It's pretty late at night. It's like halfway through the night. My plan, I took two headlamps so that I could switch them and have them on high power mode the whole time because I can run faster when I can see better, and by having them on high power mode, I can see better at night. And while one is on, I can be charging the other with the small external battery that I brought. So totally according to plan. It's fine. Fill up my water. I run maybe a mile, 2 miles. I think it was actually 1.3 miles or so past Ward Creek after filling up, drinking some water, and then it's finally like, okay, this headlamp has died enough. I need to change it. So I pull off my pack and I open it up, grab my other headlamp, no problem, normal. And I put that headlamp on, take my other one off, put it back in the pack, and try to zip it up. And it's caught. So the zipper just catches. This pack, the zipper's been catching since Coconut. I took this pack on the 33-mile stretch to start where there's like 20 something miles without water. So I knew it would be good for this water carry and carrying enough weight, but it's always caught on this like upper portion. And so I zip it up, catches, zip it back down, try a couple more times, and then can't get it to work. So I'm like pulling it a little bit harder each time. And then the last time I pull it up and it's stuck, and I just try to maneuver it a little bit and give it one more tug, and the whole zipper like explodes. There's like two pieces of the zipper. The portion that you like hold and pull up and down that connect the two zipper portions. I'm like giving a a verbal analysis of how a zipper works. You're welcome, YKK. Is that who makes zippers? I don't even know. But it explodes. Like the two pieces like fly up into the air. I found them, but now my zipper, it has two, it's like connected for 3 inches and then it's open for the other 6 or 7 inches of it. And so I know this is a pretty big problem. My pack now doesn't close. It's the back compartment where literally all my food, all my nutrition, my headlamp, uh, like everything that I need is back there. And it's like, okay, fine, we can deal with this. So first things first, I find the two pieces of the zipper. I try to put them back together and put them on the zipper portion. If I can just get it to zip halfway, fine. Not a chance. Like they're broken or something. I ripped metal or something. I don't know my own strength. My strength training has been off the chain apparently. So that's not going to work. That's okay. There are other options. So then there's like cords, like kind of bungee type cords on each side. I don't even know what you call it, just like cordage to strap like a jacket or something on the outside of your pack. So it's like, okay, I can tie this across. So I tie one at the top and one at the bottom, cinch it up pretty good, and kind of wrap my jacket around it. And it's like, okay, this might work. And so good to go. I saved the pieces of the zipper. I don't know why, in case like I had them on the outside of my pack, like where I knew where they were, in case I like became MacGyver later and was able to fix the zipper. Doesn't matter, but just funny that that's where my mind was, what my mind was thinking at like midnight with this busted pack. So it's cinched up with these cords. And so I start running and I run a mile, maybe mile and a half. And then I hear some stuff falling out the back and it's like, oh no, this isn't working. It's shifted. I tried to wrap my stuff in the windbreaker that I had in my pack to like kind of keep it in there and away from the opening, but it just jostled too much while running. So I tried again, and then it stuff fell out again, like I don't know, a quarter mile later. That wasn't going to work, but I'm not ready to give up. So I turn my pack around and I'm going to make it a front vest. So I'm going to hold so the water bottle portions, the shoulder straps are facing the opposite way, and the big compartment that's usually on the back is on the front. It's like a kangaroo carry, and I'm like holding it and hugging it with my arms and trying to run at the same time. I ran about a mile or so, maybe even a little bit more doing this, but then like my back was starting to hurt and I couldn't get a good beam from my headlamp onto the ground to see where my feet were going either. So I kept kicking rocks. So this was completely unsustainable, and the back hurting made me think like I have like 100 miles left of this FKT or through hiker, through run, whatever it's going to be at this point. There's no way I can carry my pack like this. So this is when it's just like, oh no, real despair is set in. I don't have any other options. My arm is now like a club. It's like double the size of my other arm. I did not have Benadryl. I thought I might. I looked in my little med kit with very little in it, and I did not have any. So I was gonna just have to deal with that. That was gonna be okay. But then this busted pack, I couldn't run because stuff was gonna be falling out the back of it if I wore it like a normal pack, at least as far as any way I could find out to rig it. Or if I was gonna carry it on my front, I was gonna have severe back pain and kick rocks for the next 100 miles. So this is kind of when despair set in of just like, there's no way I can get to the end of this thing either in 30 hours, in 20 hours, in 100 hours, in 10 days. I just can't carry a pack like this. It was going to be awful. I only had so much nutrition, and I don't know, there just was no way in my mind, and I think in reality. And that's when I got really sad because it was this whole thing of this was going to be my adventure, my time to go back. Cocodona didn't go how I wanted. I got injured at mile 50. I got to the end and did fairly okay, but it wasn't the race I wanted, not the one I'd trained for, not the one I was fit for. This was going to be my chance to have the adventure I wanted, whether it was an FKT or doing the Tahoe Rim Trail as a through run and kind of unlocking that new mileage and that new pace and that new style with this running pack that I could take enough for multi days. But then when the pack broke and I couldn't carry it anyway, I just kind of sat there for a little while of thinking, what in the heck do I even do now? Like, I don't have camping gear. I don't have any other way to carry this stuff. I can't even move things around. I don't have the pocket space to take anything. I tried to think through everything. I thought about trying to put it inside my windbreaker and my like Alpha Direct hoodie and do like a satchel over my shoulder and try to carry it, because at this point it was like maybe I can knock out 25 miles or something and get through the Desolation Wilderness to Echo Lake, or just like get a little bit further down the way, get 100 miles through this thing, and nothing would work. It just was sad. I don't know. It felt like a lot of things this year have been increasingly hard on the running front. Like, I'm running well, but the two chances to show it to myself or the world, just it hasn't gone right between Cocodona and this sucker. So it was a little depressing. So I sat on a log and just thought like, well, what are my options here? And it boiled down to my only option is I cannot make it to the end of this. And that's when embarrassment set in, because it's hard to go for something and fail. I think that's why a lot of people don't go for hard things when you don't know or think you can actually finish it. So this embarrassment really ate away at me, but there was no other option that I knew in my mind. So I pulled out my emergency blanket. I'd never really carried one before the last year, but my girlfriend mentioned it would probably be a good idea to start taking one, considering what I like to do. So luckily, I had one. I've never slept with an emergency blanket before, but there's a first for everything. So I unraveled it. It was actually way harder to unravel than you'd think. I found the least comfortable spot in hindsight on the ground, just like pine cones, roots, rocks, uneven terrain everywhere, and rolled up like a gas station hot dog or something. Maybe a Home Depot hot dog. Are those a thing that anyone knows about? Like a hot dog that you'd get, a Costco hot dog. I rolled up like that and just slept for maybe an hour and a half. I mean, I'd burned like an hour and a half or 2 hours messing with this pack thing, trying to figure out what to do. And then another probably 30 minutes being depressed for myself because this adventure had just gone haywire, sideways, not how I wanted. And yeah, I slept for about an hour and a half, got up at 4 or something, and just walked back. I carried my pack just kind of in each arm. I'd switch arms because it was pretty heavy. I had a lot of gear for this thing to go 170 miles and only need it for like 74 miles or whatever. I ended at 72. I'm not sure how much I actually did. Yeah, it was a sad carry. I could have hitched, because I mean the attempt's over, but I just wanted to walk with my feelings and carry the burden, the weight of this little pack. So whether it was my swollen arm or my gut arm, I just carried that, I don't know, 8 or 9 miles all the way down the road, down into Tahoe City, and just sat on a bench there, looked at Lake Tahoe, and just kind of thought about the adventure that didn't really happen. I mean, it was an adventure, but just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And I broke packs in the past. I broke my pack on the John Muir Trail. Two of the straps that connect the shoulder straps to the back broke. I was able to tie them up and this was about 30 miles from the finish. I tied them up and was able to get to the end. I was using a prototype on that. Big mistake. Don't test a pack for a record. But yeah, they just couldn't fix this one. So even though I had the experience, just too many things went wrong. It was, I mean, totally on me. I should have figured it out better. I'd actually thought about bringing a 15-liter pack that was also a running vest and didn't have a zipper, because zippers fail. It had a clasp closure at the top. It was going to be a lot safer, but instead I opted for the little bit smaller, little lighter, little more minimalist Solomon pack, and it failed. That, the bee sting, throwing up, maybe the not having great fitness, I don't know. In hindsight, I think I had maybe a 20% chance of getting the FKT with these factors and stuff. Pretty low. I don't think I wasn't my most fit going in, but I sure had, a chance if things went right and I could overcome them. But yeah, it just didn't go right. It's sometimes things happen. You're going for literally the fastest time ever. So, got to take risks. It's always going to be really hard and stuff. So, hopefully, I'll be back to run it. I don't know. I've been thinking about maybe it's just one of those things that I go and through hike to get off my mind because now I've failed at running this trail twice actually. So, pretty sad, but that's the story of the Tahoe Rim Trail. I'm probably forgetting some stuff, but let's close it out with. So I'm in Tahoe City now. Everything, it's over. I'm sad, sad boy Jeff, sitting on a bench, talked to my friend on the phone for a while, and yeah, just wasn't meant to be. And then I had to get back to my car. My car is like 40 miles away, directly across Lake Tahoe, so I have to hitchhike all the way around it. So around 9 a.m. after getting my feelings out a little bit, I stuck up my thumb, get my first ride, and this is where I lived. Like Tahoe City is where I lived when I lived in Tahoe in 2018. So I stuck up my thumb, got my first ride to like Kings Beach, and then next ride to Incline Village. The first ride, that guy hated the government. My second ride, he was very rich, retired general contractor who picked me up in a Tesla. And then my third ride, who he actually through hiked 1,000 miles of the Pacific Crest Trail in 2018, Chief Tenderfoot. And I'm bad at names, so that's cool. I remember that. But he gave me a ride all the way to my car at Spooner Summit. And that was kind of sad getting a ride back to my car because I was supposed to run a loop back to it. So I did the best I could with the day. I got in the car, drove down to Lake Tahoe, and actually did a mile swim in the lake to get out some frustration and some emotions. And yeah, I guess I'm like, I don't know, I'm not really like at peace with it, but it just kind of happened that way. Nothing went right, and I couldn't fix all the things that went wrong. And that's the way to not get an FKT, which I think I'm going to call this podcast. So, thank you guys for listening. As always, that is the story of my failed Tahoe Rim Trail FKT attempt. Fun time, not the adventure I wanted, but it was an adventure, a lot shorter. All right, like, subscribe, share, whatever you guys are doing to help the listenership grow like 10% every single episode. I love it. So thank you all for your help. Love you guys and love this community and everything. And I don't know, everyone just being supportive in the midst of failure, because I think we should all just go for those hard things, whether we think we can get them or not. It's worth it. Take the chance, see what happens, put yourself out there. If you fail, it's not that big a deal. It just means you went for it. Most people never go for it. So take the risk. Take a big swing, go for it more. All right. Oh yeah, sign up for our race, Montana Meltdown, October 13th, I think. All right, guys, that's it. Stay elite, my friends.